A few days ago, we filled the veggie beds with lots of plants. The iguana hadn't noticed, until now.
Here's what's left over from the chomp of the iguana. He doesn't like zucchinis. Well, actually he did chomp off the zucchini flowers. And today is the 27th of May and my first tomato came out today. It's a little tiny one so far. I also get flowers on the cucumbers now. And lettuce is growing nicely. This is the arugula. This is the other lettuce. It's getting really big. I might have to cut some leaves off so we can eat them. And this is my small little disaster. It's a zucchini plant that I overwatered. It lost its flowers, but it's coming back. I haven't watered it for a whole week now, and hopefully it's coming back stronger than before. And here you can see my first pepper flowers. These plants really should go into the bed, but we have a big iguana eating everything at the moment, so we have to put up some protection. This looks like a decent thunderstorm coming across. It looks quite spooky. It's coming down like a curtain. Lightning's already happening. I hope Helen's coming home soon. It is totally scary. We can't even see the mountains across anymore. They're behind this major rain cloud. It's like a wall. I'm glad Helen is walking on the other side, well, behind us, but I hope she's coming home soon, because this looks like it's coming in really fast. There's lightning in that cloud.
Oh, I hear it. I hear it back there.
I'm not sure if I can capture that. It's like a fog, isn't it? Oh, now we had lighting. The next maneuver in trying to keep the iguana out.
Yeah, we have a new problem.
What's that?
Yeah. Gotta go. Cutting the last things there.
Oh shit, leaf cutting ends.
Yeah.
Here we've got the leaf cutting ends now. We see if these shiny things are going to distract the iguana.
We never found out because Phoenix caught it by the neck and shook it a few times before letting it go. We haven't seen it since. Well done, Phoenix.
Already heard the crew give their go, close their visors, and get ready for launch. For Dragon, it'll enter.
We're watching the SpaceX Launch. First time a commercial company launches 2 astronauts into space.
From US soil.
From any soil, because it's usually the government's. And we watched the countdown already on Thursday, the original countdown, but it was called off 15 minutes before start due to bad weather. It's another historical moment. It's amazing what humankind can do. We're in the middle of this corona pandemic. I wonder what the astronauts are thinking. They're going away from this planet with a pandemic into orbit, and they're not going to return within the next 4 months, I think. So by the time they land or come back, world might change or might have changed completely again. Bob and Doug, they've both been up in space with the space shuttle. They were both on the last space shuttle mission in 2011. So this is quite exciting. Ooh, 60 seconds to go.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Dragon is in countdown. FTS is armed for launch.
They're going.
Under a minute now, the FTS, the flight termination system, has been armed.
Boy, my heart rate would be 250 there.
You wouldn't be in there.
No.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let flight 6 handle.
Wow. Hold on, guys.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Copy 2 Alpha. MVAC ignition.
Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn. And there is that entry burn beginning. This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Well, that entry burn continues. We're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. It'll be the second engine cutoff.
Stage 1
we'll be looking for that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship.
Falcon 9 first stage is successfully landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed. This is the first Falcon 9 to carry humans to orbit, so very exciting for us. Bob and Doug on the right screen, inside of Crew Dragon, out in space.
Yeah, already 200 kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters, 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per hour. Waiting for confirmation now of that setup.
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you of dragons separating. And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space Station today.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to Ground. Bob Doug, on behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
Thanks, Bala. Congratulations to you and the F9 team for the first human ride for Falcon 9, and it was incredible. Appreciate all the hard work, and thanks for the great ride to space.
Copy all.
And Mike, proud of you guys and the rest of the team. Thank you so much for what you've done for us today, putting America back into low Earth orbit from the Florida coast.
Soft capture complete.
Dragon is safe.
We have Bob Behnken from SpaceX Demo 2 mission entering the International Space Station. Followed by Doug Hurley.
Now we had a few days of rain and everything's turning green. Flowers are coming out, birds are twitching, ants are flying.
Water is such an important thing on our planet.
After the rainy season finally started, everything comes to life, and the weaver birds are busy building their nests.
This is the birdie that's building the nest. She, might be a he, I'm not sure actually. Getting the branches. Did you have a nice bath? Good.
The most important day of the year in Barichara isn't Christmas, New Year or Easter, but what locals excitedly called La Salida, or the exit.
This is another busy morning.
The grounds around the ant holes are covered with worker and large soldier ants. Their job is to defend the princesses from birds and other predators. They have big heads and their mandibles can inflict painful bites that draw blood.
Ellie got bitten. You're going to be really...
Look at them, they're all in my socks.
Ja, and these are sharp cutting ends. Du musst das mit den Händen machen, nicht mit dem Stock.
Between April and May, when the sun shines brightly following days of heavy rainfall and the moon is full, La Salida marks the beginning of the ants' annual mating season. Colombia's hormigas culonas, or big butt ants, are a species of large-winged leaf-cutter ants. When seasonal rains soften up the ground, the princes and princesses in the colony crawl out of the ground and fly toward the sun to mate. Big butt ants are considered a delicacy in Colombia. They have been consumed in and around Barichara for roughly 1,400 years.
Apparently they mate in the air. The smaller ones are the male ones and the larger ones are the princesses. And then both drop to the ground without wings. And the male is dying, but the female is digging the next ant hole.
Bloated with eggs and ready to reproduce, the brown cockroach-sized queens are prized for their rotund, pea-shaped bottoms, which can taste like peanuts, popcorn, or even crispy bacon when roasted and salted.
He has lost one wing and can't fly.
As well as being an excellent source of protein, the ants are a rich source of unsaturated fatty acids, which prevent high cholesterol.
She's not going to make it.
They contain high levels of antioxidants, and regular consumption can help prevent cancer, arthritis, and hepatitis. They are also considered an aphrodisiac, and are often given as a wedding present. No wonder they are considered the caviar of Colombia's north-central Santander region, and 1 pound of these insects can fetch between $9 and $40, making them several times more valuable than Colombia's world-famous coffee.
But this one is struggling to get her ball of earth out of the grounds. Come on, you can do it. Oh no, she's got it.
We could hear the excited shouts of the local people all over the hills. They can earn a week's salary in a day catching the precious large hormigas. Each nest later contains many thousands of ants and can extend 5 meters underground in a vast labyrinth of tunnels that would stretch out for miles if laid out in a straight line. The queen of the nest can live for up to 15 years.
A millipede.
Millipede means 1,000 feet, but it's not quite correct.
Need a hand.
They have between 30 and 350 pairs of legs.
It's quite a large one. This is about a hand-sized one.
Unlike centipedes, millipedes have 2 pairs of legs per body segment, and they don't have poisonous claws. They're quite timid, so when they're attacked, they roll up into a ball and squirt out a foul-smelling liquid. Most millipedes eat decaying leaves and other dead plant matter. Approximately 12,000 millipede species have been detailed.
Must be nice to have so many feet.
I don't know. Think about all the toenails you'd have to cut.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Millipedes are some of the oldest creatures to walk on land. Fossilised evidence show that a millipede-like creature was one of the first and largest invertebrates to walk on land at 1 metre 80 or 6 feet long and 45 centimetres or 1.5 feet wide.
It's almost like a snake. Ooh. These legs belong to Helen, and there's a grasshopper that wants to go for a walk with us. There he is. So what are we doing? Keep walking? And see how long he's staying on. He's probably thinking, oh, that might be easier for me to get somewhere today. Oh, 5 meters. Better than nothing. Yeah. And it's a free ride. No, come on, this is a spider. A wasp is moving a spider out. Or in. Wow, she's got different wings. There goes the dead spider. I tell you, we live in a really dangerous place. Tarantulas, snakes, wasp nests, very aggressive ants, poisonous millipedes. I'm not quite sure about the last one, to be honest.
Dinosaur iguanas.
I think she's got a problem to get that one in here. Look at this. It's thinking, how am I going to get this thing in here?
Has to widen the hole.
Uh-oh, it's not going to work this way. You're going to lose all your energy. Want me to push it in for you? Maybe we should take a stick and push the spider down. But then you might not be able to get out if this... Ooh, look at that. Is this spider still alive? Because I can see that one leg kicking. I think the spider is still alive. That's not gonna work, sweetie. It's life and death here. Yeah, you're gonna make the hole bigger. Oh. See, this is what I call stomach muscles. Okay, you can put it down, yeah. You want to go for a walk? I'm sure Mommy and Daddy are going in a minute, huh?
This is Kirsten. She's got her headphones in, but they're not plugged in, so I can actually hear them. That's typical Kirsten. Do you want to take your headphones out?
It's Corona madness.
Why don't you plug them in?
Yeah, all good things
it's a 3. Oh no, what is it? All good things come in 3. So time lucky. So time lucky, yeah. Another accident.
Okay. Yep. What was that about brain cells? Oh, you can't hear me now. Oh, that's good. I can say whatever I want. As if coronavirus isn't enough, now racism is raising its ugly head.
There have been demonstrations in the US city of Minneapolis following the death of a black man who was pinned down by his neck by police. Officers fired tear gas to break up the protests. President Trump has accused Twitter of stifling free speech after it tagged one of his tweets as potentially misleading. Twitter pointed users to fact-checking resources about postal ballots after the president claimed without proof they would lead to fraud.
More than 100,000 people have now died from the coronavirus in the United States. That's according to official figures. The real number is likely to be higher. Clashes have broken out in the US city of Minneapolis as thousands of protesters took to the streets for a second night. It follows the death of an unarmed black man in police custody. President Trump has said he has asked for an investigation. 2 pro-democracy politicians have been removed from Hong Kong's Legislative Council during a debate. Tensions are high ahead of a vote in China on a new security law that many fear will weaken Hong Kong's autonomy. And Professional Rugby League has started again in Australia. There will be tackles, scrums, no social distancing, although matches will be played in a handful of empty stadiums. The Central Police Station in the US city of Minneapolis has been set alight during a third night of demonstrations over the death of an unarmed African-American man in police custody. Renault has announced nearly 15,000 job losses worldwide. That's almost 10% of the workforce. The company is battling against a slump in demand for cars made worse by the coronavirus pandemic. Social media organisations have sharply criticised an executive order by President Trump seeking to limit their legal immunity for what people post on their platforms. Mr. Trump acted after Twitter tagged 2 of his posts as potentially misleading. As part of its response to the economic problems caused by COVID-19, the Spanish government is due to approve a basic income for those in greatest need.
There have been violent scenes across the United States in response to the death of an unarmed black man, George Floyd. Protesters have broken an overnight curfew in Minneapolis after several nights of unrest. Anger spread coast to coast. In Atlanta, a state of emergency was declared for some areas to protect people and property. There have been demonstrations in several other big cities, including LA, New York and Washington, D.C. And this was the scene in Washington where hundreds of activists gathered. The White House was temporarily placed on lockdown with the US Secret Service closing entrances and exits. In other news, Brazil has reported nearly 27,000 cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours.
Protesters and police have clashed as curfew orders are ignored in Minneapolis and several other US cities. There are now curfews in place in 13 cities. Demonstrators are calling for justice after a policeman was charged with the murder of African-American George Floyd. England's Deputy Chief Medical Officer has warned of a very dangerous moment in the fight against coronavirus. Professor Jonathan Van Tam said easing the lockdown would not affect the infection rate, but he urged the public not to tear the pants out of the new guidelines. The first commercial spacecraft to carry people into space has successfully launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida. The capsule, built by Elon Musk's SpaceX, has 2 astronauts on board, and they're now on their way to the International Space Station.
Protests against police brutality are continuing to sweep across America over the death of the unarmed black man George Floyd. An independent autopsy report has found he died from mechanical asphyxia, where breathing is prevented by external pressure on the body. The first court appearance by the Minneapolis police officer charged with the murder of George Floyd has been postponed. Reports suggest that prosecutors are considering further charges against him. In other news, the populations of some of the European countries hardest hit by the coronavirus pandemic are welcoming an easing of their lockdowns. Some scientists in Britain are warning that the country is lifting restrictions too quickly. And the two newest arrivals to the International Space Station have held a Q&A from space. The mission marks the first time NASA used a private company to transport a crew.
Moments after he threatened to deploy thousands and thousands of US troops against the protests and riots that have engulfed dozens of American cities, President Trump has walked out of the White House to stage a photo op outside an historic Washington church damaged by protest. The presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church has complained at the use of the church for partisan political purposes. Protests against police brutality and the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis are still going on despite more than 40 curfews. The official post-mortem examination has declared his death a homicide. Derek Chauvin, the officer kneeling on his neck before he died, will appear in court next week.
Stay tuned for more videos.